Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cigar Sundays. Today, I'm joined by the action man, Nicolai himself. You started in the Norwegian Special Forces. What made you go down that path?
I was only there for a year in total 6 years of military experience. But I always knew I wanted to do Special Forces from a very young age. I remember I was in the gym when I was 16 or something, and this random guy come up to me. I was doing the leg extensions. And this random guy come up to me and was like, yeah, what do you do? You're so young, you're doing good work in the gym here. And
the military could use a strapping young man like you.
He was probably a recruiter in disguise, you know? Yeah.
He got you good.
Yeah. Bro, he probably got like insane commission for that one. So
yeah, we got a fucking wild boys.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so I knew really quickly. At first it was like, yeah, I'm gonna join this unit that I was a part of for most of my career. You know, I wanted to go there after I got this book by my sister. She gave me this book. It was this biography by a guy who's been like in Afghanistan for like plus 10 times. So that was like motivation, which is weird because you hear about all this shitty stuff that goes on.
How did that guy approach you in the gym? Did you have any inclination towards the military at that point? Or?
Yeah. That's like, I think I got the book from my sister a year before, and then I started digging into the military stuff. I was like, oh shit, yeah, Navy SEAL, a Norwegian Navy SEAL, I guess. You know, it's not the US Navy SEAL, just so you know. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. You know, let's just find a more extreme.
So you did 5 years of like what, standard military?
I did. It's so 1 year is conscription, and then I did 4 years on top of that as a professional, and then I did 1 year in Special Forces in between there sometime.
Would you recommend like a young man watching this who doesn't necessarily have much of an idea of what he's doing? So he's like kind of, you know, flowing down the NPC life path, like, okay, Jimmy, you should go to college and then university and then get your job. Like, would you actually recommend the military as like a viable, I'd say career path, but you don't have to stick with it, right? But would you actually recommend the military after, like, you know, for example, finishing school or college?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit demonized too with this whole escape the matrix thing, right?
Yeah.
And I do agree partly with that as well, that like these people don't give a shit about you if you go in there, right?
Yeah.
As I got to know the hard way, it's definitely better than going to college, I think, because you actually learn stuff about life. You know, you get some handy skills as well, how to, you know, use a weapon and everything. So you get that scare out of you. But no, it's not just about that. It's like you get to, you know, freeze your balls off with someone, right? And that makes a difference, right? Anyone can go into the woods and just freeze their balls off, but when you're in the shit with someone, that's different.
You got that level of like camaraderie. Did you find like really good friends in the military as well? Are you still friends with them?
Yeah, I talked to some more than others, of course. I shared a sleeping bag with a guy once because we were on the escape. We were escaping this was during my Special Forces training. We were escaping the enemy, the fake enemy. Like, he didn't have a sleeping bag because he was carrying a radio. We didn't have space for a sleeping bag. So I was like, yeah, we have to share. So you get, you know, intimate like that, you know? There's a moment like that where you bond.
Do you get like a similar experience like that because you're now in Thailand and you're training a lot of Muay Thai? You've had 2 fights, which we're going to talk about, but like, do you get that similar experience when you're training any Muay Thai, when you're sparring your friends and stuff like that, or is it like just a completely different level when you're in the military?
It's a different level.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's a different level. I think part of that is due to it being just so fucking boring most of the time. You know, a lot of the stuff is boring. I haven't been to like actual war, but from what we've trained at and what I've been taught is that this shit is boring. It's so much waiting. And you know, the stuff you come up with when you're just hanging around with boys and you're having a lot of time, anyone can relate to that. And then take that to the extreme and you take some quad bikes that some superiors gave you and you just fuck around out in the forest.
Yeah.
Like, that's a different level of it, and then you have all the combat stuff as well, mixed in with that. It's a different level, but martial arts definitely, you know, it's the closest thing I think to that.
Yeah, because you can go into the deep end with martial arts, but I imagine for someone like you, it's very rare that you train with someone who is at that fucking level, who's willing to go like deep like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, hard sparring sessions is one thing, but I'm like, it can be hard, like, can we do hard sparring like 4 times a day? That's you know, but like that's like that would be fun, and I think that would you would bond at a different level.
You're not gonna have any brain cells left, bro.
That's the problem. That's the problem, right? So, I mean, and I mean that like if we could stay at the gym for like if I found someone who could, want to stay at the gym for 8 hours and just do shit. Okay, let's do sit-ups now. Oh, let's do hang-ups now. Hog. Like he's the closest I've found to being that.
Yeah, Hog is crazy.
Yeah, like okay, when we were in Bangkok, okay, we run. Okay, then we do some other stuff. Then we do some other stuff. And the military is just that on steroids, basically. We walked through entire nights, 12 hours. It's like, of course, it's gonna be a bigger bond from that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and you did. How did you spend? It was on Christmas or New Year's, right?
It was Christmas. It was supposed to be New Year's here. I think what you're getting at here is, the run. Is the run?
The run, yeah.
The run. Yeah, I decided to run around Samui. But
you ran around the entire island. It took you how long?
Yeah, it took me. I can't even remember. 6-7 hours.
When did you get back home?
5:20 in the morning.
And that's a Merry Christmas for Nicolai, is it?
That was Merry Christmas. I think it's ended up on plus 7 hours.
How was that, man? Like, how did you feel during it? Was there times during it where you were like, this is stupid, I want to go home? Do you have any like quitting you ever? Do you ever have those thoughts? Or do you literally just not even entertain them in the slightest and just continue? Like having that level of discipline, I'm trying to like deconstruct it so I can understand and that the boys can understand, like, that's fucking nuts to spend your Christmas running around the entire island of Samui.
The run itself was, what was it, 51 kilometers? And as you said, with the weak thoughts, I don't usually entertain them. Because there's a difference, right? You get the thoughts, and then you either entertain them, or you're not entertaining them. Like, you can choose. You can just use it as a sheep that you're counting, like it just passes by, like a cloud, or you can sit there and just start dwelling on it. But also, it's like, when you're in that position, you're running around an island, then you're not having much of a choice, do you?
Yeah,
like in the middle of the night too, it's not like a taxi.
Yeah, it's like, I could just get on this grab real quick and bounce.
Right, and those situations are really good as well. Like tactical stressors, where you put yourself, okay, this has to be done. Like there's no backing off. That works for both business as well. Where like you say, let's say you rent an apartment that costs you way more than you actually earn.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I have to do this, I have to make this happen. Or you could do it for fitness, which I like to do. It's like, okay, this has to work. And so it usually works.
You don't really leave yourself a choice.
Yeah.
Know? Okay.
And this is something we did in the military too. Like, if we had to make this checkpoint, it was like, yeah, we have to make it. And so we make it work, we just walk.
Because what's the alternative? You get fucking eaten by a bear or something.
What's the alternative? We don't get, like for...
Do you guys have bears in Norway?
We do.
Okay, well there you go, bro.
We have me. There's me,
you have a choice, bro.
No, but like for survival situations, for example, like you don't have a choice. Like to get like an extraction point, there's a certain time and place you have to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't get there, you could miss out on the chance of getting out of this situation. And so once that's the only choice, then like there's nothing else to do but to push, right? That's what I like to do with my training as well.
How do you program that level of like discipline into yourself? Do you think it's possible outside of the military, having someone just, obviously in the military you've got drill sergeants and you've got like all of this added pressure of like you've got all these people relying on you, you've got to get to the extraction point, you can't be the slowest in the pack because otherwise we're going to miss out on da-da-da. Do you think it's possible outside of the military to build that level of just like, you're not even entertaining the thoughts like you've just said?
Yeah, I think it's possible.
What would you say is the most efficient way for someone who's watching this video, this podcast, or listening to develop that? Because the ROI of that is just ridiculous. If you leave yourself mentally like no choices, you're not even entertaining like variables anymore. You're just laser focused.
Right, it's just
You've
one
got
way.
so much clarity.
Yeah, I think it's possible even without military experience, but you have to start really small. Like whatever barrier you can create, you just go to that. You remember when we did a run around the lake?
Yeah.
I told you to, okay, just create a milestone. Like, and for you, that was 50 meters ahead at one point because you were heaving.
I was dead, bro.
Yeah, and like that's fair.
Sorry, just context for the boys. Like, me and Nicolai went for a run around the lake. My cardio is terrible, right? So I've been like out of my gaming era for like a few years, but I have not trained cardio at all. I've been lifting my weights, that's all well and good. My cardio is rubbish, embarrassingly bad, very embarrassing.
I agree.
It's fucking embarrassing. Yeah, it's fucking embarrassing. I struggled immensely. Like, you know, people can do, I mean, you do like fucking 2-3 laps, no problem. I was doing like, what, 1/15 of the run before I was like struggling.
1/4. Okay.
1/4?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll take that 1/4. I did 1/4 of the run, I started struggling, and then from that point on, I had to like, you know, walk it and then run a little bit, stop, walk. It was just a struggle. It's terrible.
It was a struggle, but like, it doesn't really matter what the level is. I just want to see effort. You can't fake that either. What we did was good. It was progression at least. Like hitting those milestones and just getting through there. That's one step. That's a very important step to take. So like regardless of if you can run a marathon or a 5K, there's always potential there to train your mind to become more resilient. You have to just look for the next milestone as well.
That was very good actually. So when we were on the run, I would just stop whenever I felt like it was getting too much. You said that if I create a imaginary objective, so like, oh, I've got to reach that bush over there or something, you'll find that you're actually able to sort of push past that, like, oh, I'm fucking done. Because like when you're at that point, you're usually at like 40% anyway. You've still got another 60%. So like if I was running that and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired, I gotta walk, for example. Suddenly some guy teleports behind me who has a machete and is like, I want to kill you. Suddenly, like, I've got another 60% all of a sudden, right? So like, if you create some sort of objective or urgency about your training or whatever you're trying to progress in, for example, if you're struggling with business, if you take on an apartment that's like a bit of a liability, it's like, oh shit, I've got to make this work now.
You did the right thing there. Like, let's say that's 50 meters. Let's say the next milestone is 100 meters, right? It doesn't really matter. As long as it's like challenging you. Every single time you hit that milestone, that's a repetition. And slowly over time, you increase the milestones, boom, and end up like this, you know?
And then you're action man.
Right.
And you're eating 30 eggs a day.
Right. And you want to talk about that? You want to talk about the 30 eggs?
Let's talk about the eggs. Nicolai, what do you have for breakfast, man?
Today I ate 15 eggs and some pineapple. I'm going back there after my next workout, and I'm having 10 more at least, with some rice and beef. Yeah, but it's not super intense right now because of the injuries. But
yeah, you've got injury. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the fights and the injuries and training through injuries and doing what you can.
We're gonna get up to like 25 eggs today, and I did the same yesterday. This sounds absolutely fucking nuts, but I've been force feeding myself for the last 8.5 years. Even in last year.
You weigh 100 kg and you're lean, shredded as fuck.
Yeah,
you are genuinely like the closest to Hitler's favorite child I've ever met in my life.
You know how many times I've heard that too? In the military as well?
Yeah. I can imagine, bro.
Yeah.
It's true.
You probably, you know. Because I used to wake up, when I started this fitness journey of mine, I used to wake up early and force feed myself oatmeal. Big time, you know. It's like 250 grams. That's a lot of oatmeal, by the way.
Yeah.
Just standing over the kitchen sink.
But like, how do you even perform after force feeding yourself like that? Because I find it just saps away my energy, and I just want to fucking kill myself.
Yeah, that's a good question. How did I do that? I just didn't really care, I guess. I mean,
just don't entertain the thoughts, bro.
I mean, I puked several times in the gym. You know, eating a pizza before a leg workout, it's not a good idea if you're doing the leg press, because your legs start pushing on your stomach. But it happens. The funny thing is that if I were to puke in the gym, I was like, yeah, we gotta make up for this. It's not like, yeah, I probably ate too much. It's after the workout. It's okay. Yeah, we gotta get home and
start scooping up the sick.
No. No, but after the workout, you know, maybe you can order another pizza and, you know, make up for that pizza you just lost.
So have you dirty bulked? Is that an era you went through, like dirty bulk?
I haven't dirty bulked that much. I'm very unnaturally lean, I think.
Yeah.
I have had more fats.
I have seen you younger, and you weren't like big, but you was always lean, you know. You always had like a little pack going, you know.
So it goes like this, you know. I build the muscle, and then I drop the weight for some reason. I can't really explain this, but suddenly I just turn up. I just stand on the weight on the scale, and I turn up with more muscle mass and less fat, and I can't explain why. I just, you know, eat 25 eggs, and this is what happens.
Have you done a blood test for testosterone?
No, but
oh my
I should, right?
I would be so curious to hear your testosterone results.
Yeah, it would be cool.
It's got to be at least 1,000.
I hope that it's like 500, that it's super low.
That would be
I hope that it's 500 because that means that there's so much potential here. Imagine if I had 500 and I just test optimized.
To be fair, you overtrain to fuck. And training that much actually does tank your testosterone.
Yeah, that's something you see in military selections as well. When like testosterone, it absolutely tanks.
Yeah, because they're so stressed.
It's stressed. You don't sleep.
Stress
you don't
just
eat.
destroys your T.
Yeah, so like the testosterone is at an all-time low after selections usually.
But even still, like, you carry yourself and you're able to. You're so anabolic. You're just fucking scranning your eggs down, like, and you train so much. Like, I imagine your T is still really high.
Yeah,
and it's like you're like, are you ever stressed? Do you ever stress, man?
There's not very much to stress about. I mean,
yeah, life's good, right?
Life's pretty goddamn good.
Yeah.
Living on an island, just training all day. Like, this is what I love to do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I coast, by the way. When I say I do it, the stuff, that doesn't mean I just coast through workouts. You know, I like to push the limits. It's fun. Where was I going with this? With the testosterone thing, right? I kind of lost my train of thoughts there.
I can change the topic if you want.
Yeah, this is very emotionally draining of me. From all the trauma of overeating and overtraining.
Okay.
Yeah. I had this period of overtraining.
Cut it back.
Yeah, I call it back, you know.
Baby.
Yeah, I called the thought right here. No, but for the overtraining thing, I had this period a few months ago. I was starting to get more and more out of breath for each session that I had, and I was doing running.
I remember that, yeah.
I had 2 Muay Thai sessions, and then I did weights after. Sometimes 3 Muay Thai sessions. It came to a point where, on one day when I was doing the weights after all the training, my nose started bleeding for some reason. So I was short of breath, and I had random nose bleeds. I hadn't even hit my nose or anything. I was just doing some presses, and it started bleeding. So I was like, what the fuck? After I finished the workout, of course, I didn't stop. Why stop, right? There's no problem. It's already bleeding, so there's no reason to stop. I was like, yeah, should I, take a day or 2 off? You know what's fucking insane? I had to counsel with people to ask them if I should take a day or 2 off for being short of breath and starting to nosebleed. I don't know if that's healthy. Maybe I'm not healthy, but who gives a shit, right? But it ended up on me taking 2 days off, which I thought was absolutely, excruciating. But I mean this, like, this stuff is probably not healthy. We're doing more than just training our body here. We're training this as well.
It must have been scary getting a nosebleed though, like that.
You can also, that's one thing you shouldn't do. You can look at the nosebleed, you can think what Google will tell you, you have cancer. Or you can just be like, let's fix it afterwards and finish the workout. Like, you can just choose like that. It's that simple. Yeah. But it's so easy to just, something happens and you start to create crisis inside your head. Mm-hmm. It's not real. The exact same action has happened, but you're just creating outcomes in your head. And so, I could have just sat there, started crying, and really thought that I had cancer. But
I'm not saying cancer.
Right.
I'm saying, like, whenever there's some sort of like traumas happen to the brain though, like
blood
you get a nosebleed,
that's
like,
usual.
You get like you're in like a car crash or a bike crash, someone's nose starts bleeding, it's like, that's not fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, running into me is a car crash. But I mean, okay, let's say I had a brain hemorrhage.
Yeah.
Like, I would have died during that workout regardless. So why not just finish it? And I was like, most of this stuff, it's just stuff you make up in your head. So that's funny too, because on the Samui run, I posted on IG, I went into the 7-Eleven and I got this can of acid. I don't know what it is. Like, it was some energy drink with some weird squiggly letters on. And I, downed the thing. And after I started running, my heart started, hurting a bit. I was like, shit, man, what is this?
That would have really fucking.
Is this a heart attack?
Man. Yeah, that would have really fucked me up, bro.
Yeah.
I would have been like, shit. I would have went into the worst case scenario straight away. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought about that too. I was like, but we're out here. Let's just try and see what happens. So,
do you not think? Okay, I'm gonna play a devil's advocate because that is a very empowering mindset, right? But do you not think that's also like genuinely quite dangerous. The fact that you have to have a council of people to have you like slow down and stop because your body is just fucking breaking down. Like your nose is bleeding and like you're about to have a heart attack. You can't breathe.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe it's not, healthy, but I'd rather go to my boys and ask them, hey, should I take a day off, than have to ask them, hey, should I work out?
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And also, this is something I tell people, is that like as an athlete, I consider myself an athlete now. I didn't, do that from the very beginning.
That's why we're not smoking cigars, by the way, guys.
Yeah, true.
Athlete and
no smoking.
I'm on my 60-day dependable challenge, so I can't smoke.
I'm an athlete, and as an athlete, you have to be like a dog on a leash, all right? And what that means, it's not some degrading term, but it means that you have to be the one who pushes the pace. Yeah. You can't be the one who's like shoved in every direction. Can you imagine a dog having to be shoved around like that? No one wants a dog like that.
Yeah.
So as an athlete, I do that. I push the pace, and then I have people, coaches, or people around me who tells me to stop, and that's much better. And sure, there are cases where that could be bad, even fatal, probably is. But I'd rather just do that.
I mean,
it's a risk in it, which I like.
Yeah, but if you've got good people around you can trust, and like they're looking out for you and shit, like that's fine. I think that's standard actually. Now you say that, like when I think about like all of the UFC fighter camps, typically it's like that. Oh, Khamzat Chimaev, he wants to train 3 times a day. Yeah, if you have that like built into your mindset, I think that's pretty standard. And then the coaches, it's up to the coaches to be like, bro, fucking relax. So you gotta have good people around you. Do you have like good Muay Thai, genuinely good Muay Thai coaches who are like bought into you and like they're following your journey and like they're willing to pull you back like that?
I'm not really sure. I try to communicate as best I can, but I'm not like, there's not like a big apparatus behind me.
Yeah.
There's no doctors, no nothing. It's just pad work, and a few days before the fight, we don't train.
Yeah.
And so I have to do a lot of the work myself, but I ask them, hey, I'm doing running as well, is that okay? And they're like, oh, yes. So
the problem I find with the Muay Thai on this island is it's typically like a touristy island, right? Yeah. And the gym that you go to is very commercial.
It's a tourist trap for sure.
The most commercial gym. So it's like they have tourists coming in and out all the time, and they hear every day like, oh yeah, I want to do some Muay Thai fights.
Yeah.
Muay Thai training. So it's like they're kind of, obviously they buy into these people and then they end up like not bothering or whatever, they just fuck off. And it's like, I guess they've sort of been conditioned into like, not giving too much of a fuck about people in their gym because they might just bounce. They're like, oh, fancy going to Phuket now, see you guys, you know what I mean? They don't really buy into people.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll just finish my point on the other thing, the athlete thing, is that if you could just communicate, well, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, this is how my body is responding right now, then I think that's a pretty good fail-safe into like the fatal part of the thing. Like you just have to be able to communicate and have people you can communicate with who understands this to a point. So that doesn't mean it has to be a coach, but it can be like people who at least understands physiology to a point. For the Muay Thai coaches, it's like, you have to kind of separate yourself from the tourist. You have to show the coaches, first of all, you have to tell the coaches, okay, I don't want a fitness session. I'm here to learn. Big difference. I tell them that explicitly. Okay, I don't want a fitness session. If I do something wrong, you tell me. I'm like, yeah. And so I've just done that I stayed at the same gym.
You've got to hold the reins a little bit, You said something to me before that really hit. It was like, you've got to essentially do your own camp. Like they're not going to give enough of a fuck about you to actually organize your camp. You gotta essentially do your own camp, and that starts with saying to the trainer you have, listen, I don't want to just fucking smash pads, which is what most one-to-one sessions are. When you go there, just smash pads and then leave with bad forms. It's like, you get a good sweat on, but like you don't fucking learn shit. I actually need you to correct my form every time. I don't want to do anything wrong. I want to have a fight at this time, like give them some sort of timeline. And
yeah, exactly. So you have to separate yourself from the tourists like that, so you get some special attention.
Yeah.
It's very important to not be one on the crowd when it comes to this. You want that special attention. You want to have the details on your form, on stuff dialed in. And when it comes to the fight camp, when you have to do it yourself as well, you also have to realize, okay, needs to improve. You have to, analyze this stuff. You can't just go on autopilot. And I do ask coaches about this as well. What is the best thing in my arsenal? I did this before my fight. What is the best thing I have? Okay, it's my right hand, it's my right kick. You know this, right?
The fucking shotgun.
The shotgun. And so I asked them about this stuff. Yeah, this we should focus on this. Then I think to myself, why don't we create some combos with this? And then I go to the next pad lesson. I say, can we create some combos today? It's like, we can do that.
Yeah, so you're super conscious when you're going to these sessions. You're actually thinking. I think when I went to the sessions in the past, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to show up and just things are going to happen. And I'm going to do them and I'm going to do as the coach tells me to do. But I'm not going to think really much beyond that.
Yeah. And that's what the common man does.
Yeah.
It just goes in there, and classes are nice sometimes if you want that fitness sessions, because like that, or CrossFit sessions or whatever, like classes, they're very good for that because you don't have to think about anything. You just get the sweat on and you just, burn out. But if you want to learn the skill, then you have to be conscious about the thing. I can draw this back to the military. Like if we were at the range, it's not just some people giving us ammunition and us just blasting away. What they told us and what we ended up doing ourselves, because what you get told is usually what you should end up doing yourself without being told as an athlete or as a professional. Every round is a repetition. It should be a part of a repetition. So you can choose, they told you can choose basically whatever exercise. It doesn't really mean anything. So let's say two to the body, one to the head. It's called a Mozambique because apparently the Mozambique people were really hard to take down. So they had to put 2 in the chest and 1 in the head. It wasn't enough with 2 in the chest. We had to put them to good use. So everything was conscious. So that meant also that, okay, let's say we were shooting and we had to figure out stuff for ourselves. Okay, we could do this grip, we do this grip. Okay, let's try from this angle, high porting, low porting, and just presenting the weapon. Like all these details, we do ourselves. You put that, you extrapolate that into anything. If you have a mentor for your business, if you have coaches in Muay Thai, all these details, it's not something that you can rely on someone else to tell you all the time. And that's what you do if you're going to class and you're coasting like that. That's what everyone does.
Yeah.
And I could probably do that too, no problem, for one session. Like let's say I do 4 sessions in a day. Maybe I have the mental capacity to think consciously. I probably have for everything, right? But let's say the 4th is just, let's just go there and blast our body into the ground, right? Then I don't have to think. I can just go. That's no problem too. But if you want to learn something, then you have to be conscious of these details, and you definitely won't be told every time. So my mentor now with the business details, that's if I don't handle that, that's a problem. I have to handle this by myself now. You get taught it first, right? By your mentor, by your coach, by whomever, instructor, and then you have to pick up on this stuff. This is how we evolve.
Why are you choosing to build a business while also sort of develop yourself in this way? Because obviously you hadn't fought before. You've now had 2 Muay Thai fights here. You've won both by KO, vicious KO actually. A lot of people, they might think like maybe with some credence that it would be very difficult to build a business and also live like an athlete. A lot of these athletes that do this, like the UFC guys, they do have a business, but they have a lot of like backing and support, and they got like a whole team behind them, and they're not really that hands-on with their content. But like, why do you choose to prioritize the athlete side of things over building the business?
Well, it's genuine. Like that's who I am, and that's why I've gone pretty much all in on the personal branding. I'm here to tell people that this is possible. This is absolutely possible. And for me to tell that to people, I have to be that person. And that's nothing I put on just for the show. Like this is what I've been doing for the last, no fucking clue, years. This is the business. That's what I want it to be as well. This is what I want. I want to go out there. I want to run ultramarathons. I want to do Muay Thai. I want to lift weights. I want to do everything. I want to show people that this is possible. A lot of people come to me. I got a thing on my Q&A on IG just now. Are you natural? Yes, absolutely. And this is definitely possible natural. Absolutely. You can do anything. And so how do I tie this back to the business thing?
Your business is you, basically.
Yeah, that's what I want it to be as well.
Yeah.
And it has to be genuine. And therefore, I train as much as I want. I do what I want. And that goes vice versa. I do what I want, and that's what I want to do, train.
I do what I want.
Yeah. Like some disagreeable bitch, no?
Yeah.
No.
I want to go to the club, Nicolai. I want to go to the club. You have a very busy scheduling. You're training a fuck ton, and you're also trying to build this business. What is your current sort of ideas in business? Like, what are you actually trying to achieve? We've just entered 2024. What does Nicolai coming into 2025 look like in terms of business? Like, what's he achieved? What sort of audience has he garnered? What sort of message is he pushing?
Basically, I'll lay this out very simply. You know how people, when they talk about mindset and stuff, it's very vague. You don't know exactly what to do with all these motivational speakers and everything. Like, they'll talk about mindset, and it's just some vague bullshit.
Yeah.
What I've done, and with my mentor, I figured out exactly some actionable steps to building resiliency. Just like with the milestone thing we talked about. I have plenty more of these. That if you just apply it to like anything, fitness is a really good one, because with fitness you get to actually feel it on your body. And if you just apply those, there's no way you can lose. Like, there's no way you can lose. And I tell people, like, if you're not more resilient and able to smash a brick walls in 90 days, then I'll refund you, no problem. Absolutely. I don't care. Because I know this shit works. For me to prove that as well, I have to be the one I am.
Yeah, let's say like a version of you which wasn't training 2 times a day. You hit the gym like, 3 times a week, and like, you focused on like your business instead. You were like pumping out content, but you weren't training hard, and you fell off with your diet. You were in some pizza and shit. Like, your product wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Because they're buying into who you are.
Yeah.
Because they want to emulate that behavior. But if you don't have that behavior, if you're not the guy that they want to emulate, then it doesn't fucking work.
Yeah, it's bad marketing. But also, like I said, I'm not doing this for marketing. I'm not doing this to prove anything more than what I am. This is what I do. I train. Right? And so I just that's with the personal branding as well. Like, I just do me.
Yeah.
And you build a product on that which helps people, actual value, not just some dumb shit, not Pokemon cookies. Like, the Twitch streamer, I heard about that. She just white labeled some cookies.
Yeah. And
put
it's just sugar and shit.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, I'm so excited! I've been wanting to launch these for years." And it's like, you just put a label over.
I'm like, bitch, you can just go and bake them, right? You can just go and bake them and put them in a plastic bag.
Yeah.
Sell them on the street.
And that's the reality. That's the reality as well. Like, I forget, because I'm like out here, that the reality is, for a lot of like people, that's the sort of shit that they're actually consuming. That's the shit that they're spending their money on.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts. That is
Insane.
absolutely insane.
It's very humbling, like, whenever I go back to the UK, which I absolutely hate doing. It's also quite important, though. That is the only drawback I see to me sort of being out here, is because I'm not really boots on the ground with the guys who fucking need my help the most, And you learn a fuck ton by hanging out with those guys. So I actually really do make a conscious effort to like spend a lot more time with like some of my regular viewers, like in my Discord, just talking to them, like just normally.
Yeah.
No bullshit. I just join and I'm just chatting normally, because I'm trying to just get involved in like what they're doing and like their pain points, and like, oh, some fucking stupid bitch fucking cheated on me again,
Right.
And to me the answers are so obvious. Yeah, she cheated on you because you sat in Discord playing Rocket League.
Yeah.
8 hours a day, bro.
That's a bad idea.
It's not fucking obvious to these guys. They need someone to actually tell them, like, hey, they just need a slight guiding hand, just a tiny little gesture from anyone that they just don't get, because their teachers don't care, their parents are too busy stressed about fucking money and all this other bullshit, and their friends are lost in the sauce, they're doing fucking ketamine, and they're not getting anything, they're not getting nothing. So it is always very like, it's very important to me to stay on the boots on the ground to these guys and their problems, like, because to me, I'm so far removed from it nowadays. Mm-hmm. But trust me, I did my fucking time. I did my time in the trenches there. Fucking hell, I had a fucking horrible time of it, but I'm so far removed from it now that it's like, I forget what it's like. So I have to make a very conscious effort to fucking put myself back there,
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Like, you've been through a transformation of your own. I've been through one as well.
Yeah.
And to kind of be able to go back there to that stage mentally, it's very difficult, but it of course, something you have to do. Oh, of course, it's difficult these days because there's different influences on them as well. with all this TikTok bullshit as well. So the
Oh my
influence is a
God,
bit
bro.
different.
Just fucking competing with like the most autistic of
Yeah.
brain rot content. It's crazy.
Like pink Lamborghini TikTokers. But I think one of the best ways to help them out is just to be genuine. Be the man.
100%.
And you know, that's the big thing with the marketing as well. It's like genuine.
Yeah, you've got to genuinely embody that shit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just a bad faith actor, and people can see through that
Yeah,
shit too.
absolutely. The glow of, is genuinity a word? I think I've Googled this in the past. I don't think genuinity is a word.
No, it's not.
Yeah, but the glow
I know what you mean.
the glow of being genuine
Yeah.
is real. What's funny about when you are like genuine and you have some sort of integrity is that it's very easy to spot people
Yeah.
who don't have that.
Yeah.
It's very easy, regardless of what they're posting on IG, regardless of what they're doing, when they're doing, who they're with. It's very easy.
You meet some people and like, man, just life experience as well. Like the more that you deal with people, the more that you can spot like these fucking red flags in people. I feel like I have a very good radar for like spotting people who are just fucking like just twisted, just fucked in the head. There's something up with them, you know. And I'm so cautious now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's good being cautious.
Yeah.
You shouldn't hang around with bad people.
Genuine with a good heart, and then we're gonna get along just fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a high barrier of entry, bro.
No, but I mean, at the same time, it kind of is of a high barrier of entry as well, because
it's very easy to sell your soul, bro.
you know, it's very easy to try and fake this stuff. But as
Yeah.
you said, you see this stuff before you get them too close.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know, there's always situations where you get stabbed in the back, and it happens,
yeah,
you
it
know.
happens.
And then you learn, and then okay, next time that doesn't happen, and you know, that's just how life is. I try to keep a very tight circle. I'm very ruthless about cutting people off. I've cut people off in the past. I just delete them, never speak to them again.
Yeah.
People who are in the military as well, maybe they're even watching this. Like, I don't even speak to, like, I just cut them off. They send me a message. I didn't respond, I just deleted them. Now, that might sound harsh, but they don't have the same values. That's okay. They can have their opinions they can have opinions on me, on whatever. But as soon as I sense like negativity, I just cut them off. There's no point in that.
No, there's fucking no
room.
time
There's
for
no
that.
room
There's
for it.
no room.
And sure, they can come back sometime when they're not negative, when they're in a better state of mind, and they can, you know, you can shake hands and we can, you know, negotiate, or not negotiate, but we can, you know, probably be friends. But at that time, it's no go.
And that's a correct approach, by the way. Like a lot of people, they're like, I have this friend, and like they're really like they're just kind of like they're negative, and they make these little remarks like, what should I do? Should I confront them about it and like, you know, make a big song and dance? Like,
It's like,
no.
why are you with this guy? Why are you with this guy? And something that's also really interesting, if you hang around with losers like that, negative people, and you might not be that person yourself, maybe you're a positive guy, but you hang around them, and then you have the other spectrum you hang around with. You hang around with good people. When the good people, I've noticed this, if I hang around someone and they're being like, they're not negative, but they're not like super positive, or they might be positive, but they hang around others, I cut them off too. So I don't like, if you imagine like a chain, I just cut them off like straight around me.
Yeah.
I don't care. There was this guy, and he was talking about that. Some of the guys he was hanging out with, they had a beef because one of them has slept with his girlfriend or something, which is absolutely fucking despicable.
Oh my God.
And so when he started speaking of that, I became cautious of him. And he had nothing to do with it, but he knew the people. And he was hanging around with those people. Yeah, I was really skeptical. And now it's like, we don't talk that much right now. We talk a little bit here and there, send a few memes. But just that, like if you imagine a chain like that, I just cut it off.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Fucking baggage, bro. Baggage.
Yeah. You hanging around bad people, it affects your relationships to
Mate.
like people who are where you want to be.
Yeah.
So
It fucks
don't
you
think
up
it's
so
not just
bad.
you being all by yourself. This has, you know, chain reactions.
It fucks you up so bad, man. Like I remember, like in the UK, I'd hang around with like the most just nihilistic people. The world is black and white. It is what it is. Oh, another day, another dollar. Oh, and it just fucking crushed my ability to even function at any sort of like high level.
Yeah.
Just doing like the most basic of things became like such a chore, you know? They suck the life out of you.
Yeah.
You got to get the fuck out of there. And the way that you do it is simply just by fucking walking away. You don't have to make a song and dance. You don't have to confront them about anything. You just fucking leave. They ask you to go out. You say, nah, not this time. and then they ask you again and you say the same sorry, and then it starts to slow down, and eventually they're just fucking not even in your life. And there's no beef, you've not burnt any bridges, it's just, it is what it is, you've moved forward, and that's it. You don't have to make a big fucking song and dance about breakup, you know.
It's not a fucking breakup.
What's the sort of mentality that you have before you're going into a fight? Because I was backstage with you when you were having your second Muay Thai fight here. Not the first one, but the second one. And it's funny, there was this guy backstage. I noticed this quite a few times. He was a bit too excited, you know. He was a bit too excited. He was coming up to you and like asking you questions and stuff like, oh, are you gonna blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then you at some point you just said like, listen, bro, you gotta stop. I think you told him to shut up at one point. You were like very much so in the zone. This guy he wasn't really sort of getting it, you know. He wasn't really understanding the time to like just be quiet and let you sort of be, you know, stoic and pace and shit. What's the sort of mentality that you're in at that point? You're about to go into war with a man. Like, this man's gonna try and kill you. You're about to try to kill a man. Yeah,
I mean, you said it correctly right there. It's kill or be killed.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to go about it, because he's not going to show you any mercy. So why are you going to show him any mercy? And, you know, the guy in this fight, he was very like smiling and everything. And while, you know, we touched gloves and everything, I'm not big on the smiling as well, because shit's about to go down.
He looked like he was having a lot of fun, you know, like he was messing, because in Muay Thai guys, they do a traditional Thai dance before they fight. And this guy took his sweet time on the dance, you know. He was having a real good time, and Nicolai was just in the corner. I was on the camera getting the footage, and like Nicolai was just in the corner, just like staring into his soul, ready to ready to go.
I'm doing the stare right now.
Yeah, you could see Nicolai. All Nicolai was thinking about was just like, I'm about to fucking kill this man, and this guy's like, mucking around.
But I mean, I respect the ritual that he, you know, has the courage, as in his first Muay Thai fight, to try and do that ritual. I really respect the ritual.
It was his first Muay Thai fight, but he's done a bunch of kickboxing. He actually fought in K1, right?
He said K1.
K1's no joke. K1's no joke. I'm pretty sure that's where Tate fought.
I have no clue, bro.
It's like the highest kickboxing league in the world, I think.
Well, that's what he told us when I had the ice pack on, remember? He would say that stuff, but I don't really know. I don't really care. I don't know the leagues. I don't know the names of this stuff. You know what's funny? I don't even follow Muay Thai. I know the names. I know Rod Tang. I know Sanchai. I know Haggerty, of course. He trains just around there. But I don't really follow this stuff. But yeah, for the mentality, I don't know if I told the guy to shut up, like, explicitly.
I can't quite remember. But I remember at some point he was just like a little fly in your ear, and you were just like, oh my God, just chill, bro.
Yeah, he asked, he told me, you want to know my predictions for the fight? I was like, no, bro, I don't want to know your predictions for the fight.
It's like the worst. It's like, imagine he was trip sitting you for a mushroom trip, bro. It's just like the worst shit ever, bro.
I can't relate to that. What a mushroom trip. I can't relate to that. But before the fight, I do not want anyone giving the predictions. Like, good luck is fine. If someone comes with like details, just kick him, you got this, use the kick, bro, you got this.
Just shut the fuck up. You've not been in my camp. Like, fucking shut up.
Yeah, you know my kick is lethal. Of course I'll use it. Like, it's a no-brainer. Of course I will slam him down with my kick. But I don't want any influence, because, you know, even positive influence can fuck with you.
Yeah.
You can start, just like we talked about with the negative influence, with the running, for example, you can start to dwell on positive influence just as much if you really want to. If someone came up to me before the fight, use the kick to his liver, you're really strong with that, bro. And I started thinking about that like a fucking...
Yeah, and you had a game plan.
Right, my game plan was to kill him, but... no, but if someone comes up to me and talks like, and says that stuff, you can choose to, you know, think about that, or you can just let it slide. And the best way to go about it before the fight is just to not have any influence at all, so you eliminate that risk.
Yeah.
And so before the fight, I don't talk that much about the fight at all. There was this other guy, he fought on the same card. He asked if I wanted to go to Amba and do some ice bands. It's like, maybe I'll see you around, but I prefer the solitude. I really do. Because it kind of fuels my aggression as well.
Yeah.
I try to draw from that.
Yeah.
So
you're like in the zone days before the fight. You know, you're building up to that.
Day or two before I start to really like focus in.
It's like, is there like intense nerves? I can imagine having like a really fucking hard time sleeping the night before, man.
Yeah. So I can't sleep properly because I dream about hitting pads or the opponent.
You just wake up, you hear a shotgun pad.
Yeah, no, it sounds insane, but when I dream, let's say I dream about kicking the guy, my hips goes like that, and I wake up, like, you know when you just jolt awake for some reason?
Yeah,
that happens a lot. Like, it can happen 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, you know, when you're trying to sleep.
Yeah.
It can happen in the middle of the night, which kind of came as a shocker to me, because it happened before the first fight as well. It's like, wow, that's crazy, you know, dreaming about fighting the guy and it happening in, you know, real time. I dreamt about hitting him with the right hand, my shoulder went like this, you know. It's crazy. But yeah, I try to zone in 2 days before, because you want to save yourself. You want to save that switch. This is very important. This is something you learn in the military, in special forces especially, because there the switch is very like on off. Let's say you're doing hostage rescue. The switch is off until it's fully on. So you learn about the switch, and if you have the switch on too long, it's very the output
draining the battery.
It goes bad. The output becomes bad. That's why we also, when we were on the shooting range, we were only there for a certain amount of time at the time to reserve that learning capacity as well, because you have, you know, because there's always a limited amount of energy. I like to say it's unlimited amount though. For the mindset before the fight, you want to really fuel that aggression, but you want to, you know, save it for just before the fight. So
yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I went back there. I've not been backstage with anyone who's fighting before.
Did you like it?
I liked it.
It was cool ambience, right?
It was good energy, but I wasn't sure of how he wanted me to behave, so I just shut the fuck up.
That's funny you said that, because that's usually always the right approach.
Yeah. Just, if you don't know, just shut the fuck up and let him do his thing.
You don't know what to do, yeah? Be quiet. If you don't know what to do, be quiet and just observe what's happening.
Yeah.
And you did the right choice. Like, I didn't want to talk too much.
Yeah.
I just wanted to walk around. And
I just got some cool shots, that's all I did.
And it was good footage as well.
Yeah. And that's where I shine.
Yeah, that's how I approach it. I mean, regardless if the cameras are there or cameras are not there, I zone in, I focus in. I try to focus on doing harm, treating him like an enemy. If I look at him, I remember I looked at him when I started to go backstage.
Pissed.
Yeah. And
oh my god, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna fucking jump him. And this dude was like, he was just chilling. He was just chilling, like the opponent just like, oh, no, with his back to you, just like watching the fight. Like, no. He was super chill. You were the complete opposite. You were just like on. Just like, I'm just pacing. I remember you pacing and just looking at him sat there. And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to pull Nicolai off this guy's fucking corpse in a minute, bro. No, but it helped me fuel that, because you want to go all out, balls to the wall. But I remember before the first fight, I think he had the same, you know, approach. Remember that, the first fight, when we were stared down and everything? He looked kind of, he tried to look kind of mean and everything. Yeah. Just pure aggression, I think, won the second fight. First fight, you know, he's a bit lighter, even though he had some fights before, he didn't really have the skill, but I think a lot of it just came down to pure aggression. Just you know, forward focus. The first fight was a KO in the first minute, by the way. The second fight was you basically just charging forward the entire time. You took some shots too. You took some fucking shots. Yeah, he caught me a few times. He did caught you a few times. But this guy was just like a machine, just eating these punches, these kicks. He was a tank, bro. He was a tank, yeah. But for 4 rounds, you essentially just went to fucking war on this guy. And I remember as soon as your hand was raised, you immediately started limping. Your leg was fucked. Yep. But you didn't feel that at all during the fight, did you? You were just fucking on. And that's it, that you had that switch. The switch was on. Yep. No time for fucking pain. Your enemy is still there. It's still trying to take what's yours. You're gonna kill this guy. Yeah. And as soon as that switch was turned off, then it's off. And that's the important thing, to be able to actually have it off. I remember a guy back in the Special Forces, I'll get back to the fight in a second, but he was really good at that, because the way he turned the switch off, he watched like junk TV after we were done in the shoot house, for example. He would watch junk TV on his PC just to get his mind off hostage rescue training or deliberate CQB. Like. So would you have a hard time taking your mind off that, like once you're sort of... You wouldn't have a hard time after a fight, I imagine, unless you like actually had some like hatred towards the guy for whatever reason. I mean, it's only second fight. I couldn't answer that at that point. But you have a hard time in the military, maybe. I do have, you know, that's probably my worst
quality. I say this in job interviews as well because it's really good for the job interview. This is a trick for you guys. If you guys need, when the employer tells you to or asks you to tell something negative about yourself, tell them that you're very obsessive about the stuff you do, and if you were to get the job, that's all you would think about. You're not able to. You don't have the switch to switch it off.
That's really good.
That's a really good.
And I think I'm kind of like that in my own way when it comes to like the content side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a hard time turning off, man. Big time.
Yeah, but I mean, for business, is that really a bad idea?
No,
because it's not like it.
But sometimes it catches up to me and I feel fucking depressed. Like if I have a day which is inefficient, I feel fucking depressed. Super depressed. So like it's like a double-edged sword, but like I like it this way. I'd rather have it this extreme way rather than the other extreme way where it's like I don't care, like just going about my day, Yeah, I'd much rather have it this way.
Yeah, I mean you know way more about this than me, but I think that sounds like a much better way to look at it as well. It should, and it's also when you do that, as you said, it kind of plagues you when it doesn't go as planned, and you need that to plague you.
Yeah.
For like you need to like identify, okay, what is good and what is bad, simply like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good approach.
And then when you are this level of obsessive towards something, it's those sort of shower thoughts that you get which actually make the fucking big difference between actually, for example, like your content resonating with your audience versus it's fucking not, and you're not getting it just right just yet, you know.
Right.
You get that one shower thought, it's like, oh, maybe I should change just this slight little tweak in my head. It's not even like a tangible thing, it's just a thing in your head, you know, and you get that thought and you're like, fuck, that's it. And then when the next time you turn your camera on, suddenly it's like you fucking whole different man, and it's you're actually helping people. And I think you do need to have that level of obsession with content creation if you are going to stand a chance to be like competitive in this hyper-competitive fucking field. Everyone is making content now, you know. You
know, what you just said there sounds exactly like an athlete should think.
Yeah. For training, it's just a bit like I'm like that maybe for content, and you're
like if I get a shower thought about, okay, today we didn't do this properly, like that's what I do. Like I did the same thoughts, but just for training and whatever training I'm doing, Muay Thai or whatever, right? Yeah, it happens. You know, I can lay in bed and be like, shit, today was a bad workout. I can do that. Just like you can for content, probably. But yeah, it's sometimes it's difficult to flip that switch off totally. I found a good way to do this actually. Before the fight, I watched all the Lord of the Rings movies. And movies, this is something I learned from Jack.
I figured when you mentioned Lord of the Rings,
and Hope 2 as well.
Yeah.
Like they like movies. Yeah. I was like, ever since I was in Bangkok, I was like starting to watch more movies. It's basically just numbing your mind, which isn't always a bad thing. Because the thing is going to go haywire if you don't let it rest.
Yeah, and it's also like Lord of the Rings has like a lot of lessons to be learned in it.
Yeah, it's fun too, you know. Absolutely phenomenal movies. So yeah, it's very important to flip that switch off too, in a way, but still remain obsessed about the thing. You know, find that balance. But what's funny, I want to bring it back to the fight because you saw the switch being flipped off. This is a very good point, by the way. So I didn't know I had won the fight. It did the thing, like the ref did this.
I wasn't sure either. I was like, has he ended it? Yeah. Yeah,
because he had 2 counts already on him.
Yeah.
2 8 counts. And then when he took, like,
waved off the fight,
called off the fight, I didn't understand it because I was so fucking zoned in. And it wasn't really clear to me because it wasn't a fucking knockout, right? He just didn't protect himself properly.
It was a TKO.
It was a TKO,
It wasn't a knockout, it was a TKO.
Because I fucking blasted him.
Yeah, because he was just getting fucked up. Oh my God. He lost some brain cells, bro.
Probably not. To me, I just do what I do. But once I knew that it was over, then I switched off. It wasn't, I saw the ref and I saw he was weak, the other guy. I saw him waving and I didn't realize I'd won at that time, but I was still in war mode. And one big key lesson there is to not take your eyes off until it's absolutely 100% sure that the job is done.
Yeah.
It has to be done before anything else happens.
You get that a lot in MMA. You get like a lot of people give like flack to the fighters for like, oh, one too many punches, bro. Yeah. Like he was already out, and it's like the fighters they say this themselves. They say like, my job is to fucking hit the guy until the ref pulls me off, and that's that. I'm not asking these questions because those questions are allowing weakness to enter your mind, and when you're fighting for your fucking life like that, you don't have any time for mercy like that.
Yeah.
it's the referee's job to save that guy's life. And if the ref's not there, he's going to get fucking punched to oblivion, you know?
Absolutely, I agree.
And it is not like the fighter's fucking fault for that. Like these fucking soy boy journalists always asking them after the fights, like, hey, what, a few too many punches there, bro. Like, just shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah, and I mean, kudos to those who can actually recognize that, okay, I don't need to punch the twice, but you don't demonize the guys who actually put those extra punches on. It's not their job, like you said.
Yeah.
When the switch was flipped off, when I actually knew I'd won, you saw the same I did. Everything started hurting. And it's so crazy because that just shows the power of the mind. Because the fight was already over. There was no punches going on. There was nothing going on. The fight was already over. The fight was still in here. And so my body didn't react. But there was nothing else happening. I was just walking around. There was nothing happening. It was all in here. And once this changed. Yeah. And you see that instantly if you watch the fight video.
It's very interesting to see
It's super interesting. It just shows, it's just like a lot of this mindset stuff. It might sound like voodoo sometimes. A lot of these motivational speakers, they make it sound like voodoo. You know the quote, oh, it doesn't matter how red the tomato is, it's what juice it produces. Some dumb shit like that. Of course, that sounds like voodoo. It sounds dumb. But if you just realize that, okay, mindset, that's absolutely vital. It's essential. It's absolutely necessary to develop. But you have to just look past those motivational speakers and everything. You find that actual applicable ways of improving it. That fight was such a good example of what happens when that is dialed in, and what happens like with the body when that is dialed in, what the power of that is.
So Nicolai, just circling back to, I think I asked this question near the start, but we got sort of distracted. Like, outside of the military, what would you say is the best way to develop that mindset? A lot of like common advice is like, have a fight, you know. Do you think that might be the best way, or do you think there's a different way?
I think a fight is really good. I mean, it depends on where you are in the world. Yeah. Here in Thailand, it's easy. You can sign up for a fight without them even knowing your level. It's very casual.
Yeah, you just have a fight like in 2 days. Like.
Yeah, like the coach who told us today, you know, when anyone wants to fight, right? We could have sent anyone in there. But I think a fight is good. There's a goal. There's a
it also depends.
There's a consequence.
And
there has to be some sort of work towards that.
Yeah, and I think it depends on the level of work that you put into it as well. I think some people, they set up for a fight and like they're like, yeah, I'll do some training, but like it doesn't really embody their spirit for the fight camp. They're like, maybe they're doing some other shit, they're building a business on the side and that's their focus, but they're also training. Like, I don't think they're going to get as much out of it as someone like you who just completely obsesses over it.
Well, I hope they get the shit beaten out of them, if that's what they're thinking. Because then they at least learn the hard way that, okay, you need to actually put some effort into it. And I don't care if these guys are making $100K, $1 million a month, or $1 gazillion a month. If you sign up for a fight, you're either going to learn the easy way, which is by putting in the work, or the hard way by getting the shit beat out of you. You know, you had to go through all this training. You have to go through all this consistency of showing up on time, asking the right questions, being coachable. And if you can't do that, then yeah, that's what's going to happen. But feel free to sign up for a fight. I hope you end up in a fight against me. I hope. I hope. And
when you put it like that, that just really puts it into perspective.
Fuck. This is a mindset lesson for anyone. Imagine you're fighting against me. Would you train or would you not train? Right? And I'm not even that good of a fighter, but I won't cushion the punches. I can promise you.
It's a very powerful mindset. Like you're sat down. Let's say I'm booked in for a fight. Like I'm sat down. I'm at a restaurant. I have a menu in front of me. It's chicken and rice, or like macaroni and cheese. Like I've trained really hard today. Like I just have macaroni and cheese, right? But it's like, is my opponent eating macaroni and cheese?
Yeah.
If I eat this macaroni and cheese, this will be why I lose the fight. Because my opponent did not eat the fucking macaroni and cheese, and it's as simple as that.
I can count on 2 hands, not 1 hand, I think, the amount of lessons I've missed out on in 4 months of training in Muay Thai. I think it's 6 lessons I missed out on. I'm not really sure, but it's less than 10. I know for sure. And the mindset, because I decided I wanted to have this fight, right? Before I even started Muay Thai. I was in Chiang Mai, I saw my friend fight. I was like, yeah, that looked pretty cool, let's do that. So I went and trained at Super Pro, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna have a fight. And my mindset from the day I started, because I knew this fight was coming in, I didn't attach myself to the fight. I wasn't like starting to get nervous already 4 months down the line. But I realized that if I don't show up every single day, then that is a loss, because if he shows up and I don't show up, he's gonna be better. And I trained pretty hard before this fight as well. I did hill sprints after sessions and everything. It's like, is my opponent doing this?
My opponent doesn't have the balls to be doing these hill sprints.
Yeah, right. And so, like,
And you know what? My opponent's not going to do one more right now, even though I was about to finish, but my opponent's not going to do this one more, you know?
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's competition.
Yeah.
And you can use like that type of competition, like you have an enemy, which is super powerful. People who say like, oh, no, don't have any enemies are absolute morons.
Pussies.
I have so many enemies in here and probably outside in the world too. People that fucking hate me probably. But like, even if I don't have any outside in the world, I'll just create them. Some garbage military leader who I probably wants me to fail, I'll just make it up in my mind. Yeah, he probably wouldn't do this shit. Okay, let's hit the bags a few more times. And then you have positive competition, maybe you and me, who can run the fastest around the lake. And then we
So much of a competition.
No, okay, not that kind. Okay, let's say me and Bill right now. I'm competing with Bill because he's getting up earlier than me, and he's doing all this stuff right.
Yeah.
Props to you, Bill.
What a Bill.
Yeah, good Bill. Right. So that's competition, right? I have something to strive for now.
Yeah.
And it's not like me and Bill are going to kill each other over it. I certainly hope. Please, Bill. But I mean, that's healthy, right?
That is healthy competition. I've started utilizing that with Luke as well.
Yeah, with your accountability partner,
I've got
right?
my good friend Luke here, and we spend pretty much every fucking day. So we're in healthy competition. Like, we're in a competition about eating eggs at the moment. Every time he eats more eggs than me, he says like, oh, I've just siphoned 1 nanogram of testosterone off you or whatever. I'm like,
Exactly,
fuck,
bro.
man.
It's
like,
so healthy.
And now I'm starting to eat more eggs, even though I fucking hate it. I'm chowing them down. It fucking works, man.
It works. And I mean that you can dial this back into or relate this back to mindset. Like, you can create competitions for yourself like that. You just become an absolute fucking savage. But it's up to you. It's absolutely up to you. You have to make the choice.
I wanna just talk about one more thing quickly, because you did allude to it earlier. But like, what was the reason why you left the military?
I wasn't allowed to continue anymore. I wasn't allowed to continue because I was deemed medically unfit. Medically unfit. And
That is ridiculous.
you know what's funny? Should I tell why, or is that censored on YouTube?
You can. You didn't want to take the cough.
I didn't want to take a certain jab from a disease that magically appeared.
Careful.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Everyone understands, right?
Yeah, you'll understand.
But I didn't want to take that, and so they basically told me, yeah, you have to take this or you can't be here. And I was like, fuck no.
And by the way, how bullshit is it that we have to tiptoe around it still?
I really want to say it now.
Should I say it? No, but I really want to, but I also just don't want to get shadow banned on YouTube.
Okay, yeah, because I'm very disagreeable like that.
I just want to say though, YouTube, fuck you. This is bullshit. You're a psyop. You're psyop. You're Matrix. Fuck you. But everyone knows what we mean anyway, and fuck you. You were deemed medically unfit.
Yeah, I was deemed medically unfit by a superior, a leader. I hate the word superior because this person, I'm not gonna go into detail, but this person, she couldn't. I said she. Okay, she couldn't even complete the most basic physical tests. I smashed records in there.
Before you were about to say you smashed her, then I was like,
no, I wouldn't though, even if I got paid $1 million. I hope she listens to this, by the way. Maybe someone I know listens to this and sends it over to her.
Is this one of your enemies?
This is one of the. I don't really care that much about her. I have different enemies.
More powerful enemies.
More powerful enemies. Yeah. Like Sauron, for example. I compete against him. No, but before the I had worked in this unit for 5 months at this time. I get the message that okay, there's you don't have medical clearance anymore. Because I was at the doctor's office, we do like regular medical checkups. I was told by some nurse, okay, you have to get this one. I was like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. And so that became an issue, and then we started having all these fucking meetings with the leadership, and I just sat there and said, yeah, well, that's not gonna happen. And you know what the sad thing is? That there was a loophole in the regulations. You could apply for
you applied to be excluded from the rules, I guess.
Yeah. So you can apply to be excluded from the rules, or like it's okay, you can still serve, right? You know what they told me when I presented that opportunity to them? You know what they told me?
What did they?
She said straight to my face, well, yeah, we don't think you're worth it. She said that. We don't think you're worth it. And I asked, you don't think I'm worth it? not in like an arrogant way, but I present this opportunity, and she told me to my face, I have this on recording too, which is funny. That's the whole big thing here. She hated that I recorded it, although it is legal, just so you know. This was a fucking war, by the way, and it spread throughout the unit, which created this bad vibe. And it didn't have to be that way, but when she told me that, we can use this loophole, and she told me to my face, well, we don't think you're worth the time to apply for this. I was like, if you don't think that, like, I'm worth it, not that I'm some crazy, specimen, or, but I had a lot of experience, and my team and I, we've worked really well together. People, I mean, you can probably ask anyone in that unit, who would they be in a foxhole with? I would be on that list. Like, if you name 5 people who would be in a foxhole here, I'd be on anyone's list, except for, the people who hated me in management. And it spread a really bad vibe, because it instantly put 2 fronts together. Because I'm not backing down in my decision to not go through with them, bip bip. And when they just, create a front like that, now we're gonna treat you like an enemy, just like that, that's, they could have chosen to just, okay, well, I understand, we want to back you in this, we're gonna try and look this up. If they don't give a shit about me with the experience that I have, what the fuck do they think about everyone else?
Yeah.
What the fuck, and like I said, I'm not that I'm some fucking insane guy. I was a good soldier.
They treat you like a
I'm
number.
good in the field.
They treat you like a number, essentially.
If they treat me like a number, they'll treat anyone like a number. They'll treat absolutely anyone like a number. And I want to bring this back to the point of what if I would urge people to go into the military instead of college, just know that they don't give a shit about you. But you should do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. Do it for everything you learned. And of course, there's going to be some risk to that. You might be drafted and whatever, right? There's always going to be that risk, but I'd rather take that risk and learn it. But I wouldn't do it for some government, or I'm doing this for my country, because, if you're dead, they're just going to find someone else to take the next bullet for you. That's the reality of it. I'd still go in there. If I got asked right now, okay, you can come back, maybe I'd actually do it, because, I like the stuff. Maybe not now, though. This is a better life, I think. But if I had, if they had said, okay, you can continue, I probably would have continued. I probably wouldn't be in the first place. In retrospect, I'm kind of glad that they turned the mean side towards me, because if they didn't, I probably wouldn't have ended up here, sitting here talking about this right now and spilling all these facts, which is so essential, super essential that everyone knows the truth about this.
Why didn't you just take the jab and just be like, yeah, whatever, it's easier to just take the jab, I'll just take the jab?
Because the research was missing, because I heard bad stuff about it. And I'll tell you another thing, which is absolutely fucking lunatic. We had a guy in our unit who was suffering from side effects from this stuff. And this was meanwhile, they were trying to get me to do it. Can you imagine anything more insane than that? You have people.
There's a guy who is suffering because they just did it, and they're like, yeah, come on, Nicolai.
You have to do it. You're not protecting anything but your careers at this point. If you actually had any balls, you would just stand up with me and say, yeah, well, that's probably not a good idea. Can we just help you with this loophole in the regulations?
Common sense went out the window.
Yeah, it just got out the window. It just shows that some of these people are just absolutely brain dead. But you're always gonna, that goes for anywhere in the world. You're always gonna end up with some people who, you don't really vibe with. But unfortunately, that happened to be, seniors.
That's one of the best benefits of working like this, sir. You
Yeah.
get to choose who you fucking work with, And I say that to every single one of the video editor guys who I train up. One of the most important things that you need to know is that no one wants to go into work, into the office with some fuck who he doesn't like.
Yeah.
You need to be likable. You want to get along with your clients. Well, actually one of the most important fucking things.
Yeah, that's what also is so good about this, about being here, doing stuff for yourself. You can just pick and choose, the negative people.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Out of here. Bye-bye. Easy as that.
Nicolai, where can the boys find you on the internet?
You can find me on IG at Notorious Nico, the real life action man. You can also find me on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. Maybe Sam hopefully is going to put the link in the description.
I'll put it in the description, boys, yeah.
But it's Nicolai the Action Man. I post ideas like this. I share my ideas on how to become an absolute savage when it comes to fitness, and also just standing up for yourself, like this, for example. Mindsets, which is I've been talking with Sam about, stuff like this. So you can find me there. Shoot me a message, if anything. No worries.
Thanks so much, Nicolai.
Pleasure.
Fucking
Absolute
pleasure.
pleasure, bro.